Before we get started, I'd like to say a few words about how this tree arrived. In the summer of 2008, students Celeste Bocce, where is she? Great, over there. Mark Jimenez, who's over there, and Mick Rosenthal, I hope is here, accompanied me as part of a class on contemporary art practice and public art to Joel Tauber's studio, where we heard the story of how he rescued a dying sycamore tree from the parking lot of the Rose Bowl. So the tree that we are planting today is a seed from that original sycamore, but it would not have been possible without the hard work, determination and commitment of students Celeste, Mark and Mick, nor would it have been possible without the extremely generous gift from Yolanda Romanello. I would like to say a very big thank you to President Chombley for her wholehearted support of this project from the very beginning. And I would also like to thank Imani Harris for pulling this project together so beautifully. And lastly, my heartfelt thanks goes out to Joel. Thank you very much for bringing this important artwork to Pitzer, and I can promise you we will be excellent surrogate parents.
So a little bit about trees on the Pitzer campus, because we're adding now our newest tree. When Pitzer was founded, there were 2 trees on campus. And so just take that in for a moment. There were 2 trees at the time of Pitzer College's founding, and one of them died soon thereafter. The other one stands on the Avery Walkway. And since that time, all of the trees that you see on campus have been planted by staff and by students and by faculty. John Rodman was one of our key faculty in creating our sustainability efforts. And we've made this campus a beautiful place together. And in recent years, we have become ever more dedicated to drought-tolerant plantings and to native plantings through the work that Paul Falstich and Melinda have done. And they have made a wonderful contribution, and they are encouraging our tradition of having faculty and students work together to create a beautiful campus in conjunction with our wonderful groundskeeping crew. This is a perfect combination of, I think, what Pitzer is all about. You have the tradition of the college, tree planting, you also have art represented, and you have sustainability being represented, because trees, after all, are what we desperately need. And we're busy choking the oxygen out of Southern California, and this is our attempt to put a little bit back in. This reminds me, I have to tell you, this reminds me of 1971, the first Earth Day. Do any of you remember the first Earth Day? We were all called out of class. I think I was probably in the 6th grade, and we had a tree planting just like this, except at the time, it was the first time that it had ever happened with school children. And that's never left my mind, just the beauty and the simplicity. And for once, an administration saying a tree is really important. And so that memory I've always carried with me. And I really appreciate the fact that we're able to continue that. I also wanted to just mention this bench. This is a project now that we have had underway at Pitzer College for the last 2 years. And we sent 2 different designs to the community, and the community chose this one. And this bench is going to be decorated by students. And we are going to be adding many, many more benches to our campus. And in each case, students will be invited to do whatever they like in terms of their creative expression. Catherine woke up at that. Anything they like to the bench. And this is a way to celebrate the vibrancy of our art scene on campus. And I think perhaps one of the things that we should consider is every time we create a bench, we plant a tree, because what's a bench without shade? And so with that, I'd just like to thank all of you for coming. I'm very excited about this. I really appreciate the students coming and talking to me, and I just thought it was a genius idea from the very beginning. And so now, we'd love to hear from you.
Thank you so much.
Well, I just wanted to thank everyone here. Thank you, Kiara, and thank you, Imani, and thank you to everyone here in the Pitzer community. when I started this project, it was just me and a lonely, forlorn tree in the middle of a giant parking lot. And the tree really had no chance to reproduce. It was hit by cars, it was starved for water and oxygen, and it was totally ignored. And that struck me as highly problematic and very much indicative of how so much that is important is lost. And we don't really think about caring for our urban trees. There's a lot of attention that has been made in this country about taking care of things or preserving the idea of wilderness in national parks, but our cities are always expanding, and what about the things that are stuck in our cities? And as the project kept going and people started to notice what I was doing in terms of trying to take care of the tree, and there was initially I was doing all these guerrilla activities. I jackhammered in metal tree guards, pretended I was working with the city, lied to the police. Jackhammering is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be, by the way. And I was watering with giant water bags, and the tree was doing better, but it still was had all this asphalt around it. And I realized I needed community and needed people to help me, and I needed allies. And once I realized that, I really worked on trying to build that. And eventually, enough lobbying pressure and enough media coverage convinced the city and the Rose Bowl to remove 400 square feet of asphalt and protect the tree permanently with a ring of boulders. And then they started removing asphalt around all these other trees. And then the tree was doing better, was getting water and oxygen, and was protected from cars, and finally was able to reproduce. After a year of trying to help the tree reproduce with seeds, it took, and 200 offspring emerged from the soil. And it really moves me that that people started adopting these trees. And I can't really think of a better place than Pitzer College for one of these trees to grow. I'm sure it's going to be really thrive here, and it seems like from everything that I've seen that the ideologies embedded in my own project really coincide so much with what Pitzer stands for, and that really moves me. And I've found through the course of this project too, when I started doing plantings at schools, I feel like that's the most a really important component of this project, because you know, it's all about the ideas growing and people talking about it and people becoming involved, and that's the only way for change to occur. So anyway, I want to thank you all again.
Thank you all for coming, and as you know, everything has been said. I embrace this project for what it stands for, and if I may add, I'd like to just share a quick story. When I was a young girl, I was playing and taking care of my godchild today, you know, and accidentally we broke a branch from a palm tree. And my father picked it up and he said, "It's okay. We'll make sure that it stays alive." So he took it upon himself to go plant that, and the tree, I mean, it started to live. You know, a little tree, a mini tree. And for 10 years until he passed away, I got to see that branch stay alive with the caring and love that my dad gave it. And it was a lesson for my dad, for me, and for Lupita, my godchild, to see how, you know, caring makes a difference for all of us. So I want to thank, besides everything that has been said, I want to also thank you for allowing me to participate in this project and for reliving those memories for me. It was a beautiful memory, and you brought it back alive again. And it is that, you know, to be able to come in the future to sit here and see this tree, and once I'm gone, for others to enjoy it, that's why I embrace it as well. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, and thank you for allowing me to come back and to stay connected at Pitzer.